We talk a lot about love, here at church, but also in life. Poems, songs, plays, books, movies, genres have been written about love. It's something we want to feel. It's something we want to know. It's something we want to hold on to. And it's really not that simple. Hence the energy spent writing and thinking about it. The thing with love is, you know it, not really through words, but in action, in feeling. Love is a verb. This holds true in our faith. We know love by this, that he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for one another. We are still in Easter, a season when we celebrate the actions of Christ. And as followers, we are called to love, not in word or speech, but in truth and action. We are called to love. Okay, so we need to show our love by doing. And now you might be thinking of certain examples of this. I give a lot to nonprofits. I tithe. I volunteer. I help my neighbor. And the list goes on. Yes, these are actions that communicate a commitment to and a love of our church, our community, our neighbors. But what about all the other stuff? What about the life lived between the donations, between the volunteer shifts, between the random acts of kindness? Because love exists in these spaces too. Love is not just grand gestures in moments of overt need. It does exist in these spaces, but it is so much more. After all, Jesus did not just die on a cross and rise again. He was conceived, born, did all that awkward adolescent stuff, traveled, broke bread with friends, was betrayed, and shared a few more meals even after his death and resurrection. Christ's love exists in marked actions, in miraculous, awe-inspiring acts, and in the day-to-day. In the mundane. We should hear this as an invitation to consider the nuances of our own lives with even more possibility and grace. What might it mean for us to love not just with big acts or volunteer hours? Keep in mind, these acts of love that we hold up are not necessarily accessible to all. Time is as much a limited resource as money. So what might it mean for us to love with our day-to-day actions? What does it mean for us to wake up, to commute, to go to school, to break bread, to sing, to turn our face towards the sun in love, in ways that express love, that exude love? What does it mean? What does it feel like to abide in love? Today's psalm, Psalm 23, so beautifully given to us by Pam and Jeff, thank you, illustrates God's love in action. God makes me lie down in green pastures and leads me beside still waters. When the psalmist needed rest, God led them to a quiet, lush place, a place hushed enough to find oneself, a place calm enough to be restored. Love here is action and invitation, and the psalmist shows love back to God, accepting the gift of creation, lying down in that green grass, closing their eyes, taking a deep breath of fresh air and letting the sound of the water wash over them. These are all acts of love. In this beautiful image, we see a conversation of love, a conversation between creator and created. We witness love in action, a walk, a rest, a gift, quiet. In the life of Jesus, we see a similar conversation. We see show-stopping miracles alongside humbler moments. We see simple meals, feet washed, all in the name of love. And we see love received. We see Jesus accepting the generosity of the disciples, of a boy with some fish and bread, of a woman with perfume. Jesus is also moved by acts of love. He knows the truth of love through the simple but thoughtful acts of others. Friends, we know love by this, yes, that he laid down his life for us, but also that he broke bread with us and that he walks alongside us. We are called to love in action, and by this we will know that we are from the truth. This is the interesting thing about love. When you find it, when you give it, when you receive it, you know it. And love, deep, deep love, it has a way of breaking into everything. It fills your thoughts, it gets under your skin, it energizes you, it seeps into everything you do. Now, a lot of us might be thinking about this kind of love in relation to a particular person or our family. But what if we understand this breadth of love in relation to other things, people, creatures? What does it mean to love those in war-torn countries so much that we think about them every time we eat a piece of bread? What does it mean to love those whose subsistence has been ravaged by climate change, that we change our water usage? What does it mean to love those we see on streets so much that we show up to vote? What does it mean to love a community so much that we send them seeds so that they will have a garden? And remember, too, that we are called to receive God's love as much as we are called to give God's love. Just as the psalmist accepted God's invitation to rest, so must we too accept the gifts of our Creator and of one another. We must live knowing we are loved. We must sleep, wake up, make love, eat, move with bodies that are loved. We must walk in the sun and the rain, notice the flowers and the birds, revel at the creatures finding their way, knowing that these are loved by God. This isn't easy, this love stuff. These smaller actions are usually missed, overlooked. They don't post well on Instagram or TikTok. They don't exactly add to our resumes. They rarely, if ever, receive accolades or recognition. For all the meals documented, all the conversations recorded, Jesus lived so many more moments of love. He lived this way purely out of love, intimate exchanges becoming prayers of witness to the grace of a loving God. And you may wonder if you're enough, or if your life is poetic enough to be prayers of love. And I can't really answer that, but I know our God is a graceful creator who yearns to be in all the pieces of our lives. The missteps, the awkwards, the not quite theirs, these can be, when given over to love, these are prayers too. We are called to live whole lives of love and truth. We are not asked to just bring those put together, picture-perfect actions, but all of us. Friends, may we know love. May we be loved. May we abide in love so deeply that our lives become prayers of grace. Every breath, pore, freckle, laugh, tear, reflective of the love of our Creator. We are loved. Amen.